feels like it could benefit him a lot. But yeah, for me, just like planning is probably the biggest thing.
I know that you would have preferred to have won last week, but is there something to have gained about the comeback that you had to get the finish that you did last week? I would think that's got to be a good positive thing for you. If it wasn't a win, what you guys did do.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's also, I mean, it was a tough race, but it's also a confidence booster, in that our team could overcome another, tough, or having something tough come up. So yeah, I mean, that was nice. I feel like we left a ton of points on the table there, with it all kind of the end of the first stage not going well, and then the second stage going how it went, and then overcoming to get an 11th in the final stage. I feel like we left out 20 points or so potentially. So that's a bummer, but it could have been a lot worse. So I was proud that we all kept our head in the game.
The week of the championship, sorry, go.
No, go ahead.
Week of the championship, do you spend much time in the simulator at all? Or is it not
Zero?
Gotcha.
I mean, do you have to, if you win, does that mean you have to get guest rooms ready for your place in Phoenix?
Yeah, no, typically it's just for like Caitlin's family, but then, and friends, some, we stuff a lot of people in my house, like last year we did, so it's fun. I mean, I think I like having, my friends and family there and lots of them. So yeah, I mean, that makes you want to make the Final Four a lot as well, just so you can see all your friends and family and have a good time, be a win or lose. So yeah, hopefully we can keep it up, keep the performance up, and I can see everybody in a couple weeks.
He won here that he spent like every day in the simulator, but that doesn't seem to be your MO. How tricky is it in case you do get bad information in the simulator that you've kind of put that in your muscle memory and then you get out there and there's nothing to compare it to?
Yeah, I don't know. I just, everybody kind of prepares differently, and throughout my career, I haven't really felt like the sim most times correlates well to what I feel, in my butt and in my hands. So that's why I kind of don't use it often, but like at the Roval, I used it and I felt like it really helped me, and it helped us get our car a little bit better and helped me get into a rhythm quicker, and we had a great weekend. We qualified well, and we had a smooth race and pretty much dominated the race. So yeah, I think there's times that, for me it can help me, but there's also times where I just know that it's probably going to do more damage than anything to me. And that's got nothing to do with the sim. It's just kind of just the way my feel is in my butt.
How have you felt about Homestead on the schedule? Obviously, you were here, years ago when it was moved back to earlier in the year. Now it's been back in the playoffs. Now it'll be back out of the playoffs next year. Obviously, you've had success here. You like this track. Where do you feel like you want it to be on the schedule, or does it really matter to you?
Well, we run really well here, so I'd love to see it in the playoffs. As a championship race would be great, but if not, I think in the round of 8's good for us selfishly. But I don't know. I mean, as far as like atmosphere, I don't know if it's obviously way better when it's a championship race. I mean, this is the first time I've had my motorhome here since like 2019, and like even the motorhome lot like is empty compared to back then. So yeah, just the atmosphere is nicer. You could take the championship race any track, the atmosphere would be better. But yeah, I don't know, something about the last race here was always fun. When we ran here in the spring, I guess in 2021, I don't remember exactly how it felt, but it didn't feel like as special as what even this race does. So would love to see it back in the playoffs, but I know it doesn't matter what I think, I guess.
What are the advantages and disadvantages of running the wall, and can it bite you?
For myself, the advantage of running the wall is I can go really fast, and I can also save my tires a lot better up there. The disadvantages, there's less of a disadvantage now, I think, with the next-gen car, just because the bodies are so tough. Where before, like if you just sniffed the wall, like you're at least going to have your aerodynamics were going to be way worse, and most times you'd have to pit for a flat tire or something. So now you can kind of scrape the wall often and be okay. So you still don't want to do that, but yeah. So I don't know. I mean, yeah, I think for me, running the wall is good, but that's typically when I'm at the front. You know, if you are mid-pack and everybody's running the wall, then it'd be tough, but hopefully we stay apart.
What makes you and Tyler and Bell pretty good at that?
Yeah, Bell actually doesn't really run the wall, but Reddick and I don't know, we're just really comfortable, I guess, with that feel and just how it probably looks out the windshield and how to go fast doing it. We both grew up racing the same exact stuff, so maybe that has something to do with it too.
How long did it take you to actually become comfortable riding the wall like that in a stock car?
Pretty early in my career, I would say. I ran like 4 truck races in 12, and I got to run Homestead. I don't know if I quite was running the wall then, but I ran pretty high. And then I'm sure next year when I was full-time Xfinity, there was probably, I'm sure, going like Chicago or Charlotte or here again. Definitely once we got here at the end of the year, I felt really comfortable there.
The spotters noticed it the first time you got to Charlotte, and they were all remarking about it because you were up where the angels fly.
Okay.
Well, I mean.
No, I mean, I don't really remember, but yeah, I don't know. I've always felt comfortable with it. It kind of feels like I can feel the air a little bit packing against the wall, so it kind of relates to like feeling the cushion with your right rear tire in a sprint car.
How do you balance, how have you learned to balance aggression and when not to be, I guess? Or how do you go through that process? Because obviously it's, these cars, you've got to be aggressive, but I don't know, is there as much of a penalty? I look at you and the way your season has been. I know not everything has been your fault, you've been caught up in stuff, but it's like there hasn't been that consistent streak of top 10s. It's been win 5, 5th, 35th, whatever. You're here, you're in the final 8, you're contending to win a championship in 3 weeks. So does it matter how aggressive you are?
I don't know. I mean, I think it always matters a little bit because I would love to be way more consistent and turn those 35ths into top 10s. But I don't know. I mean, I think part of what's good about me is that I am aggressive, and part of what's bad about me is that I am aggressive. So I would love to harness that a little bit without giving up the good side of it. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, next gen racing, everybody's got more aggressive, so it makes mistakes on everybody's, and myself included. You're much closer to making mistakes or getting caught up in somebody else's mistakes or whatever the case may be. So it's part of next gen racing, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would love to be more consistent.
What would you need to harness? Because like I said, this is the way it is, so I don't know.
To excitement and anticipation inside the car, it doesn't feel that much different. It's really about how your car is handling and, you know, trying to just beat the other guys. So I don't know. I don't really read into soft tire, hard tire. To me, it's all feels relatively similar.
Bell said that his team, they're approaching this round as if there's going to be 3 different drivers who win, and it's going to be you, him, and Larson fighting for that last spot. So how are you guys approaching this week?
Pretty similar, yeah. I mean, I think for us, in the sense of we're the third guy in line there, it's about, you know, trying to win. So feel very capable at these next 2 tracks, and yeah, it's if we were in maybe his position, being a few points above, you'd start looking at points, but doesn't mean we don't want to score a bunch of points. But if you're around competing for a win, you're going to typically score a lot.
I'm sure you've been asked this throughout the whole playoffs, but as these races get bigger and bigger as we get on here, how do you manage the pressure as the margin of error just kind of gets shorter and shorter?
Honestly, I feel like there's less pressure as the round goes because you get more into a rhythm of what the race requires, and I feel like that first race in the round of 8 is always a lot of nerves because you just don't want to do anything that's going to take yourself out of the first race. So for us now, I think, you know, it's pretty rhythmic, and you know, just try to do the best we can each time we're on track.
A lot of people have talked about how these 3 tracks in the round of 8 and even Phoenix tend to bring the top drivers in Cup to the front and racing for the win. Do you kind of agree with that, and do you like how it's currently set up?
Yeah, I mean, it's just the time of year. You know, it doesn't matter where we'd be racing. If outside of super speedways, it would be the best guys up front. So yeah, if you're gonna pick tracks, you know, I liked what Harvick said about the Vegas, Phoenix, and Homestead cycle. That would be awesome to see those tracks, because I do feel like those tracks are the most legit that we have, and we're the best teams run well.
You had a streak a while back, like 20 years ago, 11 straight top 10s to start a season. And now, Dave, this season we haven't seen anybody go more than 7. You're on a streak of 4. How does what you guys are doing this 4 compare to what you did in that 11, in the sense of how much harder is it to even get like 5 straight top 10s?
Yeah, it's super hard with this car because, you know, it's so hard to pass 20 cars, you know, in a run or something like that. So it's about inches, and it's about passing two to 3 cars per run. And so yeah, if you have a bad pit stop, if you have strategy not go your way, where somebody flips the strategy and all of a sudden you're 15th to 20th, it's hard to have a good finish consistently. So yeah, just a different car, and that creates some differences in the stat sheet.
So what do you have to do as a driver, in the sense of you've got a good car, now it's flipped, it's hard to pass, and trying to gain positions? I mean, like we saw a car make a bold move last week and he ended up upside down. And he had probably one of the best cars out there. But he was also in a hurry to, you know, because he understood the challenges of trying to move up. So how do you handle that as a driver?
Yeah, I think, you know, it's just situational. I think places that you can pass, like Vegas or Kansas, you can be a little more strategic. If it's a place like Gateway or Bristol this year, or what's Nashville, like you're not going to pass, you know, 20 cars or whatever. So we flipped on strategy at Kansas and was able to go from 22nd to 4th, and that's just a place that you can pass.
So you have to be. How have you had to change as a driver then? Is this car made you how much more aggressive or more of a jerk behind the wheel?
Yes and no. I feel like there's definitely some more risk you can take, and you can, you know, touch each other more than you used to. So there's definitely a little bit more contact, incidental contact, and yeah, there's some more things you can do with the car as well to affect the other guys. So yeah, we pretty much see that stuff every week.
Would you prepare for this track differently if it were outside of the playoffs compared to inside of it?
Not really. Maybe just be a little bit more aggressive to run the fence. Although the race we won here, we didn't run the fence that much. So I don't know. That's a good question.
Who's the best at running the fence, though, here?
I'd say Larson. I would say his ability to get up there so quickly without having that kind of adjustment period. I think he's good at that.
If everyone's doing it, then, you know, where do you pass, though?
You have to move around. I mean, this is a place that, you know, last year the race wasn't won on the fence, so typically it's not, so you just have to move around.
For you individually, what is the biggest challenge this track presents?
I don't know. This has always been a pretty good track. I feel like it's the challenge is there. It's just trying to get the most out of it, and I feel like I enjoy the challenge of this place.
Thank you.
Steven Stump of Frontstretch.com here. Come back for more great racing videos, and if you like us, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.